everyone, welcome to Credential Up Houston. My name is Margaret Ford Fisher. Our focus today is on online education. The U.S. News and World Report indicates that online education is transforming the way students learn. The average age of the online learner is 29, and according to the report, online education is well suited for many students, often balancing education with work, family, and other obligations. So the takeaway from the survey is that online education provides real value to all students, but particularly to working adults because it is flexible and can help build the knowledge needed to get ahead while networking with others in similar positions. So we will follow up on the U.S. News and World Report in discussion with the working adult who is also enrolled in online education here at the Houston Community College. Our guest is Ms. Lauren Gorman. Ms. Gorman, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me today.
You are so welcome. We're delighted. So, given that report, I'm wondering, what is your perspective on the U.S. News and World Report article about online education and your being a working adult as well? What are your thoughts?
The first thing that I noticed when you said that was that the average online student was 29 years old. When I first got introduced to online, I was 27 and I thought I was too old to go back. I thought that, well, college is for 19-year-olds. I work. And so hearing that I'm actually one of the norm, that was actually pretty interesting. I just learned that today. But like I said, I thought I was, beyond the age limit, that I wasn't going to be able to do it. But it's definitely doable.
It certainly is doable. And I would presume that there are other adults as well who feel similarly that maybe they don't want to go to a campus location and that now college education is out of reach for them. So how do you persuade them that it is doable and that is something that they can use as an option to either go to a campus or to study online?
Well, for me in particular, I've been working full-time since the age of 22. I graduated from my first university where I had the stereotypical on-campus experience, even living on campus, working on campus, studying on campus, hanging out on campus, everything revolved around that. And then once I graduated, like I said, I've been working for the last 8 years now, full-time. And when I decided that I wanted to go back to school and pursue another degree, my first instinct was I can't, because how am I supposed to give up my at-home living to go to on-campus education? And that's when I started doing my own research at home. And, at first I was very discouraged because I said, I can't do this. I have bills. I have bills and I'm not 19 anymore. There's no one paying for my bills. It's me. And so when I came across Houston Community's online program, again, I felt, well, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 classes are going to be able to be online, but how am I going to get everything that I need? Quickly did I realize that almost every single class that I needed could be online. I've been with HCC online, I think for 3 years now, and there was only 1 class that I needed to that wasn't available online. It was a lab class that I was able to do on the weekends. So for me, that was a game changer because like I said, I've been working and I wasn't willing to give up my full-time career for another degree. And I've been able to maintain, like I said, full-time status in school, full-time working. I've never had to drop my full-time working status. I've never had to miss a day of work due to school. And that's pretty incredible coming from that. I started with the mentality that I can't do this at all to now I'm a semester and a half away from graduating with a second bachelor's degree completely online.
Now that's very exciting. What are you working on your degree in? Which discipline?
I am getting a bachelor's in psychology.
Tremendous. And the first bachelor's is in what area?
Health science.
is health sciences. I see. And what are your plans once you complete the second baccalaureate degree?
Well, actually, once I graduate with that, I actually do plan on going to dental hygiene school, which, matter of factly, I'm applying at HCC. HCC has everything that my career wants to do, but I would really like to use that psychology degree. I would love to take that degree and do counseling with it. I think I'm too empathetic to be a therapist, but to do some form of counseling. I would love to work in a treatment center or a homeless shelter or even women's shelters. I feel like that those communities, that population is a little underrepresented when it comes to psychological help. And I'd love to kind of help add that and help advocate for people. Like I said, I'm a little bit older. I'm 30 years old. That's not old, but I'm not 19 anymore. But I realized that a bachelor's in psychology or studying psychology kind of can go with you anywhere and everywhere. It definitely added value to my resume in my current career. Employers like knowing that I'm studying again. Employers like knowing that I'm studying on this specific, in this specific field. They find that actually very attractive. I think it's helped my interpersonal skills. And it definitely is going to help me get into dental hygiene school. It's not a requirement, but it is definitely going to help me get in once I have that degree.
Well, your story is really quite compelling. And of course, 30 years of age, oh my goodness, that's very young to me at this stage in my life. So, as you share your story, I'm wondering whether or not the pandemic has had an impact upon you in continuing your studies online at all. What do you thought?
Actually, so I was fortunate, March of 2020, we were in the middle of a semester and my online professors that semester, they didn't really miss a beat. They had already been acquainted with online study. I don't think I've come across a professor at HCC that it was their first online class. Every professor, or if it was, I didn't know because of how well they were trained. It didn't really change for me. I think that my professors kind of gave a little bit of a grace period saying, hey, if you're directly affected, send me an email. Let me know what's going on and we'll work with you. Luckily, I was not personally affected. I got to keep my job, but, sent home and just hung out on the couch every day, went for a lot of walks. But, and the professors just wanted clear communication. Everything was new for everybody during COVID, especially last spring. And it was kind of like, what do we do? But I'm actually really grateful that I was already in the online program because there was no transition for me. It was kind of a flawless transition. And I really appreciate the professors online just already knowing, kind of what to do and everything like that. I'm sure they helped their fellow professors kind of learn, how the online works.
And they did.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had no problem transitioning, and I even took summer classes full time last summer in the middle of COVID 2020. So it didn't negatively affect me at all.
Excellent. Well, that is really great news, and I'm delighted about that. So the question is time management a key factor for student success in an online course? Well, what do you think? Well, we'll take a break, and when we return, we will discuss Smarter Measure, which is an assessment that quantifies and identifies a student's level of readiness to take an online or technology-rich course. So please stay with us. Bye-bye.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Welcome to HTC.
Let me teach you. Let me help you get college credits.
Let me train you for a new career.
Let me change your life.
Come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston and our discussion with Ms. Lauren Gorman, online education student at the Houston Community College and a working adult. So how can we plan for success of students in an online course? Well, Ms. Gorman, why do you think time management is key to a student's success in an online course? I'm sure that you have had to manage your time while working. So I'm sure you found that to be of benefit to you as well, to be able to manage that time well so that you could do all of what you needed to do. So tell us about that.
So time management, I think, is the biggest key to online school. I think that there may be a misconception that online classes are easier than in-person classes. That's not the case. And I think the professors are trained well enough to not give us, an easier time. It's important for me to still learn the material, but time management is extremely important. So me being a working professional, a full-time working professional, time management really played the biggest factor in my so far success in online school. So I have to, once I start a semester, I immediately print off all my syllabi and I write down on one Excel spreadsheet every single due date that I have. And then I keep that with me. It's my Bible. And every day that I wake up, I look and see, okay, today is the 24th. What is due in the next 3 days? So, I'm just kind of going over that while I'm having my morning cup of coffee before work. I go to work, and right now my hours are a typical, full-time job. I start at 7 and I end around 4. And the fact that I've time managed so well, I go to the gym before I go home to study. I take that time to decompress. I take that time for me, and then I go home and I spend the time that I need to do those assignments that are due within the next 3 days. I never try to get an assignment, or I always try to have an assignment done before 3 days before the due date. That way, like I said, I'm a working adult. There are emergencies that happen, life happens. And if I maintain that 3-day gap, that's breathing room for me, because there are days I don't want to open my laptop. I don't want to open my book. I couldn't care less about checking my email, but that gives me that time. So, and just breaking it down, what class is the hardest? Some professors, I've gotten to know a lot of my online professors. I keep kind of having the same ones. I know which ones have a lot of assignments. I know which ones have bigger, more spread out assignments, and just like time management is key. You have to write down and be very organized. If you find yourself bored watching TV shows too much, you probably should crack open the book. You just kind of realizing that, hey, how lucky am I to be able to do this? And I have to stay focused. But like I said, organization, a lot of planners, a lot of to-do lists, and just kind of checking them off one by one. And I like the 3-day rule, just kind of getting it done 3 days in advance so you have that wiggle room.
That sounds very, very good, very encouraging as well. So Smarter Measure, as I mentioned earlier, is a web-based assessment. So there are 7 major assessment components, and I'd like to get your responses to each of them. One component is the individual attributes as well, like the motivation, avoiding procrastination, willingness to ask for help. I think you mentioned that. So why is that important? You mentioned being able to talk to your professors and so forth. Some students are a little bit shy when it comes to that. Some of them procrastinate and they say, well, I'm just gonna wait until the last minute to get it done. Some are not as motivated as others. And that is certainly key to being successful in an online course. So speak about that very briefly, please.
I think that when you invest in yourself, which is exactly how I perceive me going to school again, is I'm investing in myself. That is the best investment that I can make, and there's no price on that. If you're investing in yourself, it's 0 or 100. There's no room or reason for me to not push myself to get this done. Because at the end of the day, I could sit around and watch a lot of TV and, do something that's not really investing in myself, or I can spend my time wisely, invest in myself. And there are days that I'm not motivated. There are days that, like I said, I keep that 3-day window because there are down days. But as long as I wake up, one, I'm grateful that I have this opportunity. I know that women around the world aren't so lucky. Online school may not be available to every person out there. But gratefulness is one of my motivators. And just knowing that every single day that I work on this school, I know that I'm working on myself. And I am going to be grateful for that. And once I'm done with this degree and get exactly where I want to be, maintaining that I'm number one and that I have to take care of myself and invest in myself, that really gets me going. But someone that's not as motivated is going to have a hard time with online classes. Yes, the professors say a due date is a due date is a due date is a due date. A lot of online professors have no leniency with late assignments, right? Respectfully, because you have a lot of time to do this. And if you're not motivated, you're going to fall behind on those due dates, and it's definitely going to reflect in the grade.
It certainly will. Great. So another one for smarter measure is life factors. And that is the availability of time, finances, the sort of support of family and employers and so forth. So why do you see that as being important to success for an online student?
So when I first became an online student, I immediately told my boss, in my career that, hey, I'm going to be doing this. At first, I really, like I said, I was scared to start. I didn't think it was too good to be true. So I actually discussed with my boss that, hey, I'm starting an online class. I may need time off. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I've never had to take time off. For me, I don't have children. I do want them, but I've decided that right now I want to invest in myself before I have children. I want to further my career as far as I can get. So that way, once I'm done with school, once I'm done and I really get to where I want to be in my career, then I can focus my time and attention on them. Again, time management. I don't know if we can talk about time management within hours, but also years. I'm kind of prioritizing what I want when I want it.
Very, very good. So, learning styles is also very important, and that is based upon multiple intelligences in that model. So what are your thoughts about that and the success of a student in an online course?
Yes, so it definitely is going to take a certain type of personality or just adapting to the online version of things. Like I said, having a 4-year degree from an on-campus experience to online, it's very different. People that are, hands-on learners, things like that, there are still ways to get that way of learning. In every single class that I have and had, we kind of start a little group chat within all the students. That's kind of like, hey, if we want to meet up, let's meet at Starbucks. You can even meet on campus if that's something that you're more comfortable with. And the online students are just like you. We're meeting at 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. We're meeting on weekend days because a lot of us work. The professors are definitely very quick to respond. If you need that more attention, or if you have help, you still have full access to raise your hand essentially and say, hey, I need help. I need further help on a subject. And the professors are very quick to get back to you because they don't want you to fall behind just because we're not in person.
That's absolutely right. And of course, I think the technical competency, and that's the skills used in the technology, the technical knowledge, the knowledge of the technology terms, the on-screen reading rate and recall, as well as the typing speed and accuracy, all of those are very important as well for the students who enroll in online courses to be acquainted with. So this is really very, very good, and it's very helpful, I think, for our viewers. So what we're going to do, Ms. Gorman, is we're going to take a break. And when we return, we will talk about learning readiness indicators further, and we'll also discuss survey results of students' successes in online education based on current data. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars. Really tall. I'm a rocket structural engineer designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of the city. They're committed to getting our students to their goals. HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. We are continuing our discussion with Ms. Lauren Gorman, a working adult who is completing her education online at the Houston Community College. Ms. Gorman, we were talking about the learning indicators and the readiness of students for online education. And we made reference to several areas before we went to break, such as the speed and accuracy, the technical knowledge, et cetera. Do you have any thoughts about those particular competencies as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say this, that I can hardly send a text on my cell phone. And so I thought, maybe this would be really difficult to get acquainted with. And it's very, very easy. I am fortunate enough to have my own laptop that I carry around with me. On my lunch breaks, I will sit and read from my chapters. Almost all of my books are online, or I'll do a quick assignment or something like that. When I'm waiting at the doctor's office, we all know those long wait times. But the platform that HCC uses for all of the classes is actually very user-friendly. Like I said, I've been an HCC online student for a little over 3 years now, and not once have I had to contact the platform's customer service or their help center, because it's always worked for me. I think there have been a couple of times that the platform was under maintenance, but I received emails in correspondence to that, kind of saying, hey, it's going to be under maintenance for these hours. You can get back on right then. They always tell you ahead of time so you can time manage. But it's very user-friendly. The professors all know how to use it very well. I've never once actually had an issue with the platform. So trust me when I say this, if I can use it, anyone can use it.
Well, that's encouraging. That's good news, of course. So, as we talk about survey results, the February 2021 University Business publication indicates that students' responses to online education were largely positive overall. 85% said their online courses felt like a classroom community. 84% said remote learning environments can be effective. And 70% said that they would consider taking more virtual classes in the future. Do these results surprise you at all?
Not at all. One of the first things that came to mind was almost every single class that I've had online, there is what's called a discussion board, and professors will assign assignments within that discussion board, meaning, for example, one of my classes right now will have to read or watch, a video or read an article and then summarize it in the discussion board. Within that discussion board, you can see all of your classmates' responses. And then some professors actually add part of the assignment grade is responding to your classmates. So you still are getting that interaction with classmates. The professors will interact with you. And so it definitely feels, you still are feeling like a student. You still are feeling within that community. You don't feel like this individual, I don't know what's going on. Like I said, the convenience of it, I carry my laptop wherever I am. If I'm waiting for my car wash or my COVID results, I can sit here on my laptop and type away or read or something like that. The convenience of it has been great. And I have always felt a part of the community still.
And you're talking about that student engagement. Obviously, that is really very important as well, to make the students feel as though they're really in that building and they're able to connect with students face to face. Whereas while it's not in person, nevertheless, they can have that direct contact with their peers conversationally. And I think that's what you're referring to, that really keeps all of that community engaged and involved in learning as you share ideas.
Yes. And like I said, there are the discussion boards with assignments from your professors.
Sure.
But almost every single class that I have, there's someone that starts a group chat within the platform that says, hey, if anyone wants to get together, I'm going to be on campus at this time. Let's go hang out. Let's study. Like, hey, or if you mentioned something in one of your discussions that your classmate liked, I've made friends. I've made friends through this, and I'm starting to realize the same people in the same classes, that I kind of say, hey, we got this professor again, we know how her tests are. You still have that community feeling. You still feel like a student. Other than not being in that classroom. So if, in my opinion, if there's a 1-hour class, it may take me 20 minutes to drive there, 20 minutes to drive back, 5 minutes to park, 5 minutes to get to the classroom. That time adds up. But this, I can open my laptop and I'm there. I spend that hour that I need to. So the convenience of it is completely there. And if you want that community interaction with your fellow students or your professor, that's definitely an option. I've never felt like I didn't have that door wide open for me.
Excellent. So in about 45 seconds, do you have any additional tips, any recommendations for students who will be viewing this program, or prospective students who might be viewing this program?
Go for it. Don't hesitate. Run, don't walk. Go to the campus, make an appointment with an advisor and sit down and ask as many questions as you have. Don't be afraid of this. This is possible. It is absolutely possible. And for the people thinking, well, I have kids, I work, how will I have time? You'll make the time. When you prioritize yourself, you find time, and it's a lot easier than you think. And you absolutely can do this. There's an entire team at this college that wants you to excel this specific way. And everybody on that team has already taken into account and has factored in everything that you think is going to hold you back. They have found ways around those roadblocks. They're not roadblocks anymore. They're speed bumps, but you can do this.
Well, that is very encouraging. Very encouraging. Well, Ms. Lauren Gorman, thank you very much for joining us, for being an excellent guest, and for being a great educational advocate and role model that you are indeed. And I wish you all the very, very best as you pursue your continuing education from one degree to the next, and then to the professional career of your choice. And of course, to our viewers as well, we'd like to thank you also very much for watching. I hope you have been inspired by this program, and I'm absolutely confident that you have been. So if you know anyone who would like to credential up for a great education or career, please direct them to hccs.edu/now. So once again, thank you so much. This has been Credential Up Houston. We will see you again next time. Thank you, Ms. Gorman.